Look at that. I've been looking forward to this. UK drive of the CLE 53, 7 days, this car and me, especially having such an awesome experience driving it in Spain. I've been really looking forward to living with it for a week. Let's jump in and see what this car can do. Here we go, guys. Strap up, pop the car on. Right, it's exhaust on, please. This is our first port of, hang on a sec. It's not there. Maybe in dynamic select. Let's have a look. Settings, edit. There's no exhaust control in this car. No bangs, no burbles, and no exhaust control? So guys, today's episode of RBR is once again sponsored by NordVPN. We've spoken about Nord many times in the past. They're a long-term channel sponsor about how you can gain more content from across the world on streaming services, protect yourself from your data being stolen when you're out and about. But one thing I want to talk about today is different. It's using the internet safely without even having the VPN turned on. Because don't you hate how using the internet has just become a worse experience over the years? You get these stupid ads and video ads that just play as soon as you get on a website. You've got malicious sites, you can't shop for something without the website tracking your habits and the things you're shopping and then throwing more stuff at you later. It's really frustrating. Nord want the internet to be the way it used to be, or at least allow us to use it the way we used to use it. And to help us do that, they've got this thing now called threat protection. It's within the NordVPN app itself. All you do, you go into the app, you don't need to turn on the VPN if you don't want to. You hit this shield button here, and then you've got threat protection, knock it on, and that is it. It can be turned on independently of your VPN. So this will then stop those annoying ads from playing. It'll stop the websites from tracking you and making a profile about you so they've got your data. It will even scan downloaded files like an antivirus and make sure that they're safe before you open them. And of course the basics, it'll protect you from malicious URLs and websites. And not all of us use VPNs all the time. We don't keep them on all the time. So it's great that you can have that as a separate feature and let your internet browsing be just a better, more peaceful experience. And of course, then when you pair it with the VPN, you've got the ultimate protection against anyone trying to get your data and staying safe online. And of course, as an RBR viewer, you get a great deal as well. Use my link, nordvpn.com/RBR. You'll get a 2-year plan with an extra 4 months free. That's nordvpn.com/RBR. And remember, 30-day Nord money-back guarantee. If you change your mind, it's completely risk-free. So huge thanks to Nord for supporting the channel and to you guys for supporting our sponsors. Let's get back to the car. You can't see it at the moment, but underneath these sunglasses are tears. And they're not tears of joy, they are tears of sadness, which is very much in contrast to when I first drove this car in Spain and I enjoyed it so much as an entry-level AMG. This car in sport mode does absolutely nothing in terms of sound. It is as dull as a 4-cylinder. So clearly, in this UK car, something is missing. And as a recap as to what the car sounded like when I drove it in Spain, have a listen to this. As we're back on the road, I'm going to put the car in comfort with the exhaust on powerful. Listen to that rumble. Nice, got a few pops and bangs. So how different is that? A much more different Raz, a much more happier Raz, and a much more different car. You could really hear the exhaust note, even from the cameras. And what a shame that is. Because this car, when I first laid eyes on the CLE 53, to me, this was a beacon of hope for us AMG guys. Because first of all, it just looks incredible. It's got a unique wide body, just in the same way that the C63 Coupe had it, just like legends like the AMG GT R and the C63 Black Series. We've got a unique wide rear end, we've got a unique wide front end, that lovely bonnet, the wings that look like the AMG GT, the staggered wheel setup, everything is perfect. Then in terms of the engine, what an engine it is. We haven't got a horrible characterless four-cylinder like we do in the 43s or that so-called C63. Instead, we've got the inline six. It's a Mercedes-derived engine, but modified by AMG to push out even more power. It's got 450 brake, in fact, linked to then a 4MATIC system that makes it an all-year-round car, and you get a sub 4 second 0 to 60 as well. So it's decently quick. But what really stood out for me on that initial drive was the fact that you could play the car like a musical instrument. You get good sound coming into the interior, and that's something that's completely missing here in the UK version of the car. In fact, I think it kills the experience so much that in the UK you just might not want to buy one at all. And I think I'm qualified to say this because you cut me and I bleed AMG. Even these days when you guys spot me out and about, it's always, hey Mr. AMG, and while I haven't used that nickname for years, I get why it sticks, because just before all of this, I was just like you guys, I was a customer. And that's why I'm totally in tune with what you guys expect these cars to be. I know those little bits of, those nuggets of emotion that you love when you're just driving in comfort mode with the exhaust on. I understand the things that you look for when you're buying these cars. I understand that you love the heritage and the design and how important the engine is to you. It's something I feel just as passionately about. Look, it's on my shirt, for God's sake. So I do believe in this, right? Now, I get sound is important. This is still a great car, right? And in fact, to me, CLE was the beacon of hope next to the GT. When I first saw it, I thought, this is great. There's rumors of it getting the V8 as well, so it's a really important car to us. And if we ignore the sound for a second, there's other great things as well. For example, let's talk about the speed. The speed is really good, okay? With the 4MATIC system, you get a sub 4 second 0 to 60, all the grip in the world, all year round, paired with the Michelin S5 tyres, make it really quick. And you know what? It's just the right type of pace to enjoy on normal roads like this as well. Then you come to the handling. We've got AMG's ride control suspension. It's got adaptive dampers, variable ratio steering, rear wheel steer, which is unique in this part of the market. And all of that comes together for a really dynamic drive. It feels to me more like a large E-coupe than, say, what the C-Class was, a bit more nimble, but it kind of works, I think. So the handling is good. The steering, I think, is very good for an all-wheel drive car, even versus something like the M4. So the entire dynamic side of things, that story still plays really well. And then when you knock it back into comfort mode, this is, again, a comfortable car, thanks to the adaptive dampers, and because AMG are so good at the duality of keeping a car comfortable, but having the crazy sports side of things as well. And in that regard, you get some really good options in this car in terms of luxury as well. For example, I can give myself a really nice massage in here, which you don't expect. Again, it's unique in this side of the market. We've got the massive heads-up display, we've got the lovely ambient lighting, the interior itself really well trimmed, Napa leather, etc. And then we have 360-degree camera. There's a whole host of options, which, again, we could say that about the four-cylinder cars as well. That is the problem. We buy the CLE 43 for the emotion. And I generally really enjoy driving this car fast. And today I'm not doing a full review because the topic of this video is more about the UK market and what's happened to this car. If you want a full overview of the car itself, the tech, interior, and a full driving review, check out my first drive in Spain for that. This video isn't what I wanted it to end up being because we need to talk about the sound. Now, what is missing in UK specification? I reached out to AMG Germany to get some clarification if something had changed worldwide or not, and it turns out to be a UK thing. Let's stop and have a talk about this. So guys, I decided that we need to get to the bottom of this. So the first thing I did was get in touch with my friends at AMG Germany, because I first wanted to find out, has there anything fundamentally changed with the CLE, or is there just something with the UK cars? And the response I got was a very firm, nothing has changed, and the only reason that the exhaust button would be missing is if the car is missing an option that is called AMG Real Performance Sound. And from what I can gather, this is what AMG puts in the newer cars, where you have a microphone that picks up the sound of the engine and the exhaust and pumps that into the interior, as well as allowing you to control the valves in modes other than Sport Plus and Race. So this sounds like it's a UK issue rather than a whole world issue, because AMG have confirmed nothing has changed. So I did what any of you would do. I ran to the Mercedes UK website and had a look at what is standard for the CLE 53. And again, I could not find any mention of AMG Real Performance Sound. So then I reached out to MB UK Press for an official statement. And this is what they came back with very kindly. And this is what they said. AMG Real Performance Sound is not a part of the CLE 53 launch specification in the UK. Our specifications are kept under constant review and regularly updated, so it could be added if we identify sufficient demand from our customers who are obsessed with exhaust notes. Tell me you don't understand your customers without telling me that you don't understand your customers. This is bizarre to me, considering that AMG Real Performance Sound in Europe is a €650 option, which in the scheme of things, considering what it gives you, is nothing. Plus, there is no other AMG in the UK at this level that doesn't come with that as standard. And we get everything standard because we basically have little to no choice in what we spec. And on the one side, I feel bad for Mercedes AMG themselves, because they're fighting for their lives now, trying to make more emotive cars after getting feedback from us on the C63. This was the first of those, and then one of your main markets goes and shoots itself in the foot. I don't know whether this was a conscious decision, if so, a very short-sighted one and heads need to roll, or whether this was something that someone just simply forgot to tick the box for the market, right? And it's happened before, like with the C63 Final Edition, someone forgot to tick night package. Either way, heads need to roll, because how could you have this car without AMG Emotion sound? I just do not get it. And remember, this car that we are testing retails at about £83,000, okay? So it's one of the better versions. And even when you spec this car with the top version, with the Dynamic Plus package, which brings this car to like £90,000 as an entry-level AMG, and you get the red calipers and the dynamic engine mounts and all the goodies, race mode, etc., you still don't get that option, which is, it's just insane to me. And I think this highlights then a greater problem that we have in the UK market for Mercedes and AMG cars, where we just don't get a choice in what we want. We cannot spec things. In the UK, it's like buying an iPhone. You pick a model, so like a Pro or a Pro Max, you go for your capacity, and you choose from a limited color palette. And usually our color palette is a lot more limited than what you get in the rest of the world. Like Europe, you end up getting with all the manufacturer options as well. You don't get that here. And then you don't get a choice of wheels, you don't get a choice of interiors. It's very, very limited. In fact, in the UK, you have to choose from a number of packages, and it's potluck whether you get the stuff you want in that package or not. For example, a lot of you may not like the red and black interior in this car. Perhaps, like me, you've seen the saddle brown interior on the German configurator and thought, ooh, that's a bit of me. Or maybe you like the beige or the lovely diamond stitching. Well, tough, you can't have that. Let's say you wanted the lovely silver wheels that actually look a lot better in my opinion in this design, but you still wanted the top specification car. You can't do it. And this is coming from a company that has some of the most advanced factories in the world, and they will do that in the rest of the world. But in the UK, they say, well, it saves us cost because we get you these packages and the cars are cheaper. But are they really? This car, like I said, comes in 80+K, which replaces an E53 coupe at around about 63K and a C43 coupe at around about 50-something K. So I don't see the savings. We're still paying top dollar, you know, probably close to M4, which is well above this car in terms of performance. But you can't even choose the things you want. And guys, I want this car to do well. It was the first right step we've made after those wrong decisions with the 4 cylinders. And of course, all of us hoping that it's going to get the V8. I'm sure it will, okay? But this could have been a great car as well for those of us who want an entry-level car. And it just makes me sad that one little option, I think, is going to deter most of us in the UK from buying this particular one. I'm also convinced, having heard the car from the outside, that it's just simply quieter. So clearly this is a really important option. And this, I think, it's all highlighting a problem that's becoming more and more common. I keep hearing more and more from customers that They would buy it if, and it keeps happening across all the modern lines, not even just AMG. And I feel something has to give, because less and less do I see followers and friends buying these cars in the UK. I don't know anyone at the moment who is. I mean, I'm not even buying one myself at the moment, even though I really want a new AMG GT. And if Mr. AMG doesn't know anyone who's buying these cars in the UK, that's got to be a sign of a bigger problem, and something has to change.